Hello, my name is Paul Obar, the team lead of Formula One. We would like to share with you our project, Market Madness. Market Madness is a small stock trading simulation game made over the course of a month. Our team worked hard to deliver something unique, challenging, and fun. In this presentation, we'll go over some features of our project, and there'll be time codes in the description if you'd like to skip to any part. After the introductions, I'll be walking you through a demo of our project. But for now, let's meet the team.
Hey everybody, my name is Julian Negrete and I'm a junior studying computer engineering. Today I'll be taking a look at the PlayerData class and how some of its methods are implemented and how they interact with two other controller classes in order to provide the data necessary for the game.
Hello, my name is Tinesha Johnson. My major is computer science, concentration, cybersecurity. I'm a junior at UTSA and I will be talking about the UI.
My name is Gideon. I'm a computer science major in my junior year, and I'm going to talk about the documentation for the application as well as discuss the stock algorithm.
Hello, I'm Stephen Otten, and my contributions to the project were the credit screen, the high score mechanic, and the results screen.
Now that you've met the team, let me show you what we've been working on. Before launching the program, make sure you have a compatible version of Java as well as JavaFX installed properly in our IDE of choice. We recommend Eclipse Neon as has many of the tools already installed. If you'd like to edit any of our XFML files, we recommend you install Scene Builder as well. If you're unsure about the installation or the program will not launch, please check the GitHub, the link of which will be provided in the description. Once we're in our IDE, we can import the program via GitHub. You can do so manually or as shown here through eGit. After the project's imported, navigate to Source, Application, and Main. You can run the application by clicking Run Main. As you can see, we're greeted by the main menu. There's a Play, Credits, and Exit button. The Exit button will exit the application. The Credits button, when clicked, will take you to the credit screen, where you can see all of our faces. You can click Return to Main Menu to return to the main menu. Now let's click Play. Here we are at the game screen. At any time, you can exit the game by clicking Declare Bankruptcy. This will take you back to the main menu. At the top left, you can see Days Left. Underneath Days Left, you can see your total. This total is an absolute total, your stock and cash values added together. Underneath that, you can see our red stock, our green stock, and our yellow stock. Any one of these can be invested in the beginning, as each value is set at 100 initially. Let's invest 4 into the yellow stock. As you can see, we have $400 in held value. We have 4 stock here. Each have updated as we added to the stock. Up here, you can see our total has not changed. Simply our cash has been deducted and stock has been added. Let's go to the next day. Okay, it seems like all the stock have climbed in price. We now have $472 in held value. As you can see, now our absolute total is above our initial $500. Let's go to the next day. Okay, let's stop here. We have $100 in total cash. Now let's say I wanted to buy some green stock. As you can see here, I cannot. Green stock is $151. Although I have more than enough in total assets, I don't actually have enough cash. I have to liquidate some of my stock. So let's go down here and sell some of our yellow stock. We'll sell 1. Now we have $218. And we can buy some of our green stock. Let's go for a couple more days. Now, nearing the end of the game, you'll see for the last day, all buttons are now grayed out. You can no longer interact with these buttons. The only thing you can do is go to your results. Now the initial high score was 1,632. I played right before this. Initially, it will be 1,000. My high score was 1,454, which is $178 under the high score. So, every time you finish the game, you have to compete against yourself. In this instance, I failed against my last attempt. The two buttons presented are main menu and exit now. You can exit the game, or you can return the main menu. I'll decide to exit right now. Now that you've seen how the game is played, let's talk about code. This project was extremely team-focused, and as such, each member will be going over their work. As for me, I wrote a lot of the line chart integration seen in GraphMaster. While it seems like each time the user clicks the next button, the graph generates the next day's value, this is in fact a trick. At the start of each game, all stock values are plotted to the hash map. This hash map is then placed inside a secondary hash map containing the stock names for ease of reference. Now you might be asking, how does the graph look like it's growing if all values are already generated? When the next day button is hit, we're actually clearing the graph and phrasing up to the current day and then displaying it to the user.
Hey everybody, my name is Julian Negrete. So the PlayerData class holds and manipulates all data associated within the player's performance in-game. Stock names and the associated quantities are stored within a hash map, while a player's cash is held within an int. This class provides methods that allow the player the ability to interact in-game, and the usage of these methods falls within another method inside the PlayerData class, or under two controller classes, GameController and GraphMaster. So the following three methods are only used inside the PlayerData class as a means to provide basic functionality to the data. The first two methods we have are increment and decrement stock. These allow an easy way to actually update the values as a stock is sold or bought accordingly. And then the final method, used exclusively in PlayerData class, is the update text. And this allows us to update the text fields as we buy or sell accordingly. So the GraphMaster class makes usages of the following five methods. The first one we have is initialize player data. This is called when the game is first started and actually sets the stocks and their associated zero value into the hash map, and it also takes an argument for an int, which provides the starting value of the player's cash. The next method is the tabulate absolute total. This returns the cash value of the player's assets, which includes the stock values at their current price and also the total cash held by the player. The next method is the tabulate total stock value. This returns the cash value of only the stocks held, not including the player's cash reserve. The next method is get stock owned, and this returns the quantity of a single stock outlined in the arguments. And then the final method is the tabulate held stock value, and this takes that quantity of the previous method and multiplies it by the current market price, and then actually returns that to the player so they can know how much they hold within that stock. So the game controller class is up next, and that uses the two following methods, buy stock and sell stock, which do exactly as they say. They call the increment stock and decrement stock respectively, and then they also update the cash reserve as a stock is sold or bought accordingly.
Hello, my name is Tinesha. The UI was originally designed on paper to format a stock market. Therefore, the UI was used to make of ease of reading, which the player has mass information that needs to be quickly comprehended. The buttons are black and white and have sharp edges to give more of a game feel. H boxes and V boxes were used to allow the player to have a scalable experience by choosing the game size window, which can stretch vertically or horizontally. tool.
Hey, Gideon here. I wrote the documentation for the Market Madness application, which includes headers for each Java file, describing how each of the Java programs contribute to the application. I also generated Java docs for each program, containing the description of the programs, the descriptions of the methods and their respective purposes, the names of the authors, the version numbers, any parameters and return statements for each method, and the algorithms that we use to create each program. The stock algorithm we used is deceptively simple. We pass an integer that determines the likelihood of the value of a stock to change day by day, an integer that sets the starting value of the stock, and an integer that multiplies the stock's value, making them more sporadic. Within the stock algorithm, there is a safeguard that eliminates all zero and negative values, as they would break the gameplay. Each walk through the while loop randomly generates a calculated variance, which has a chance to be negative or positive, causing the stock to dive or rise. This makes for a highly replayable game and allows for endless playability.
Hello, I'm Stephen Otten. The credit screen is very simple. It's just our team name and all the active members that contributed to the project. It's simple. It just has our names and our pictures. The results screen is my next contribution to the project. It is displayed after the user finishes the game, and it has various ways that it'll display information. Now, to demonstrate, I will finish a game here in which I did not set a new high score. And this is the result. It'll display your current high score. The base value is $1,000. It'll display your current score, and it'll display whether or not you were under or over the current high score and by how much amount. In this case, I was under the previous high score by a value of $520. However, if I am over the high score, as in this, it'll say I have a new high score. You were $23 over the high score. It displays the previous high score and then my new high score here. Looking at the file that handles all the high score math and problems solving, it is just a few basic functions, an initializer function to grab all of the data that is needed to compare the high score, a compare results function that compares the high score and will display whether or not you were over or under the high score and its amount. There's also a case that might be very rare, in which the user might match their previous high score, and it'll display you matched the high score.
At the end of any project, there are features that did not make it in. I'll take our last few minutes to go over some features that were ultimately left out of our project. The original concept for our game would task players in doing all their actions in 10-second windows. Once the 10 seconds were up, the user was pushed to the next day. This was ultimately scrapped because we felt the user had too much text to read in such a short period of time. Another feature is news. The news mechanic would let the user spend cash on information, specifically the next day's stock value. There was some debate on whether this would be overpowered, but ultimately it was cut due to time constraints. Thank you for watching our presentation, and I hope you download and try it. This has been Paul Obar for Formula One, and I hope you enjoyed.
Market Madness.